The town of Watertown is a city in Middlesex County, Massachusetts, United States. It is part of the Greater Boston area. The population was 31,915 at the 2010 census. Watertown is one of 14 Massachusetts municipalities that have applied for, and been granted, city forms of government but wish to retain the town of in their official names. Watertown is made up of 6 neighborhoods: Bemis, Brigham, Coolidge Square, East Watertown, Watertown Square and the West End. History. Archaeological evidence suggests that Watertown was inhabited for thousands of years before the arrival of settlers from England. 2 tribes of Massachusetts people, the Pequot and the Nonontum, had settlements on the banks of the river later called the Charles. The Pequot built a fishing weir to trap herring at the site of the current Watertown Dam. The annual fish migration, as both alewife and bluebark herring swim upstream from their adult home in the sea to spawn in the fresh water where they were hatched, still occurs every spring. Watertown, first known as Saltonstall Plantation, was one of the earliest of the Massachusetts Bay settlements. It was begun early in 1630 by a group of settlers led by Sir Richard Saltonstall and the Rev. George Phillips, and officially incorporated that same year. The alternate spelling, Waterton, is seen in some early documents. The first buildings were upon land now included within the limits of Cambridge, known as Jerry's Landing. For its first quarter-century, Watertown ranked next to Boston in population and area. Since then its limits have been greatly reduced. Thrice portions have been added to Cambridge, and it has contributed territory to form the new towns of Weston, Waltham, Lincoln and Belmont. In 1632 the residents of Watertown protested against being compelled to pay a tax for the erection of a stockade fort at Cambridge. This was the first protest in America against taxation without representation, and led to the establishment of representative government in the colony. As early as the close of the 17th century, Watertown was the chief horse and cattle market in New England and was known for its fertile gardens and fine estates. Here about 1632 was erected the first grist mill in the colony, and in 1662 one of the first woolen mills in America was built here. The Provincial Congress of Massachusetts, after adjournment from Concord, met from April to July 1775 in the First Parish Church, the site of which is marked by a monument. The Massachusetts General Court held its sessions here from 1775 to 1778. Committees met in the nearby Edmund Fowle House. Boston town meetings were held here during the Siege of Boston, when many Boston families made their homes in the neighborhood. For several months early in the American Revolution, the Committees of Safety and Correspondence made Watertown their headquarters, and it was from here that General Joseph Warren set out for Bunker Hill. From 1832 to 1834 Theodore Parker conducted a private school here, and his name is still preserved in the Parker School, though the building no longer operates as a public school. The Watertown Arsenal operated continuously as a military munitions and research facility from 1816 until 1995, when the Army sold the property, by then known as the Army Materials Technology Laboratory, to the town of Watertown. The arsenal is notable for being the site of a 1911 strike prompted by the management methods of operations research pioneer Frederick Winslow Taylor. Taylor's method, which he dubbed scientific management, broke tasks down into smaller components. Workers no longer completed whole items, instead, they were timed using stopwatches as they did small tasks repetitively. As Taylor attempted to find the balance of tasks that resulted in the maximum output from workers, the strike and its causes were controversial enough that they resulted in congressional hearings in 1911. Congress passed a law in 1915 banning the method in government-owned arsenals. Taylor's methods spread widely, influencing such industrialists as Henry Ford, and the idea is one of the underlying inspirations of the factory line industrial method. The Watertown Arsenal was the site of a major Superfund cleanup in the 1990s, and has now become a center for shopping, dining and the arts, with the opening of several restaurants and a new theater. The site includes the Arsenal Centre for the Arts, a regional arts centre that opened in 2005. The Arsenal is now owned by Athena Health. Arsenal Street features two shopping malls across the street from one another, with the Watertown Mall on one side, and the Arsenal Project of Watertown on the other. The Perkins School for the Blind, founded in 1829, has been located in Watertown since 1912. The Stanley brothers built the first of their steam-powered cars, which came to be known as Stanley Steamers, in Watertown in 1897. In 1988, Watertown Square became the new location for the Armenian Library and Museum of America, said to host the largest collection of Armenian artifacts in North America. Shortly after midnight of April 2013, the two suspects in the Boston Marathon bombings engaged in a protracted battle with police in Watertown, involving the use of firearms and explosives. One suspect was critically wounded and later pronounced dead, and the town was completely locked down for hours as police, FBI, and Army National Guard personnel patrolled it, looking for the remaining suspect, who was captured wounded but alive in a boat shortly after the lockdown ended on the following evening. Geography. Watertown is located at 42 degrees 22 minutes 17 seconds north, 71 degrees 10 minutes 55 seconds west, 42.37139 degrees north, 71.18194 degrees west, 42.37139, minus 71.18194. To the north, it is bordered by the town of Belmont, along Belmont Street. To the south, it is bordered by Newton and Brighton, the border being largely formed by the Charles River. In Watertown Square, the nexus of the town, the town's border extends south of the Charles to encompass the neighborhoods surrounding Casey Playground. To the east lies the city of Cambridge, the border to which is almost entirely the well-known Mount Auburn Cemetery, most of which is actually in Watertown. To the west lies the more expansive city of Waltham, but there is no clear geographic feature dividing the two municipalities. According to the United States Census Bureau, the city has a total area of 4.2 square miles, of which 4.1 square miles is land and 0.1 square miles is water. Adjacent cities and towns demographics. As of the census of 2000, there were 32,986 people, 14,629 households, and 7,329 families residing in the city. The population density was 8,025.7 people per square mile. There were 15,008 housing units at an average density of 3,651.5 per square mile. The racial makeup of the city was 91.42% white, 1.73% African American, 0.16% Native American, 3.87% Asian, 0.02% Pacific Islander, 0.85% from other races, and 1.95% from two or more races. Hispanic or Latino of any race were 2.68% of the population. There were 14,629 households, out of which 17.8% had children under the age of 18 living with them. 37.9% were married couples living together. 8.7% had a female householder with no husband present, and 49.9% were non-families. 34.1% of all households were made up of individuals, and 12.4% had someone living there alone who was 65 years of age or older. The average household size was 2.17 and the average family size was 2.86. In the city, the population was spread out with 14.1% under the age of 18, 9.4% from 18 to 24, 39.8% from 25 to 44, 20.0% from 45 to 64, and 16.7% who were 65 years of age or older. The median age was 37 years. For every 100 females there were 86.1 males. For every 100 females age 18 and over, there were 83.8 males. The median income for a household in the city was $59,764, and the median income for a family was $67,441. Males had a median income of $46,642 versus $39,840 for females. The per capita income for the city was $33,262. Armenian population. Watertown is a major center of the Armenian diaspora in the United States, with the third largest Armenian community in the United States, estimated as numbering 7,000 to over 8,000 as of 2007. Watertown ranks only behind the California cities of Glendale and Fresno. Watertown is also the venue for the publication of long-running Armenian newspapers in English and Armenian, including IFCAR Association Inc.'s Armenian Mirror, Spectator IFCAR, Harenik Association Inc.'s Armenian Weekly, Armenian Review. Harenik Association also runs a web radio and a web TV station. Economy. Major employers based in Watertown include the Tufts Health Plan, the Perkins School for the Blind, Sasaki, Harvard Business Publishing, Bright Horizons Family Solutions, and Athena Health. Transportation. Watertown borders Soldiers Field Road and the Massachusetts Turnpike, major arteries into downtown Boston. Watertown is served by several MBTA bus and trackless trolley routes. Most of them pass through or terminate in Watertown Square or Watertown Yard. The former Watertown branch of the MBTA Green Line ran to Watertown until 1969. Notable people. This list is incomplete. You can help by expanding it. Richard Bacalyan, actor. Boston. The Boston-based rock group led by Tom Scholz recorded the majority of the platinum eponymous album Boston at the Foxglove Studio in Watertown. Charles Brigham, nationally known architect and designer of the Watertown Town Seal. Benjamin Robbins Curtis, American jurist, dissented in the Dred Scott case and defended Andrew Johnson during the president's impeachment trial. Frederick C. Crawford, American industrialist, founder of TRW and Crawford Auto Aviation Museum. Jeff Darasar, musician, member of Dropkick Murphys and former member of The Exit. James DeMarco, artist and cartoonist. Eliza Dushku, film and TV actress, grew up in Watertown and graduated from Watertown High School. Converse Francis, a minister ordained at the Watertown Unitarian Church, who, along with Ralph Waldo Emerson, Henry David Thoreau and others, had an important role in transcendentalism. Rach Gregorian, Ph.D., grew up in Watertown, 1968 Watertown High School, graduate. Faculty member at several universities, business executive, writer and teacher on international conflict management and post-conflict peace building. Thomas Hastings, English immigrant ancestor of Rev. Theodore Parker, among others. Drastamat Kanayan, better known as DRO, was an Armenian military commander and politician, a member of the Armenian Revolutionary Federation. He served as defense minister of Armenia in 1920, during the country's brief independence. DRO died in Watertown on March 8, 1956 and was buried at Watertown Memorial Cemetery. Helen Keller attended the Perkins Institute for the Blind. Thomas Mayhew, early settler and governor of Martha's Vineyard, Nantucket and adjacent islands. Stephen P. Mugger, founder of Star Market, philanthropist. Christopher Nowinski, former World Wrestling Entertainment wrestler. John Oldham, early Puritan settler. Charles Pratt, wealthy oil industry pioneer and philanthropist. Robert Seeley, co-founder of Watertown, landowner. Charles Sumner Tainter, inventor, associate and nephew of Alexander Graham Bell. Jerry York, Boston College men's head ice hockey coach. Politicians: George Bachrach, state senator representing Greater Boston area, Democratic candidate for governor in 1994 and 1998. Rachel Caprialian, former head of Massachusetts Registry of Motor Vehicles, and former state representative. Nancy Masterton, Maine state representative. Thomas Riley, Massachusetts Attorney General. Warren Tolman, Democratic candidate for ELT. Governor in 1998, governor in 2002 and Attorney General in 2014. Sports. The Watertown High School Raiders won the Division III state championship for basketball during the 2006-07 and 2008-09 seasons. Watertown Raiders field hockey has won numerous state championships from the 1980s up to the present decade. The field hockey team has won the state championship in each of the seasons 2009-13, hosting 5 consecutive undefeated seasons. Watertown Pop Warner Football won back-to-back Eastern Mass state championships for Division II in 2007 and 2008. Watertown Youth Hockey won the state championship for Youth Hockey Division II in 2005-06. The Watertown High School Raiders soccer team won the MIAA Division III North title in 2012-13. Culture. Armenian Library and Museum of America at 65 Main Street in the former Coolidge Bank Building. Hellenic Association at 80 Bigelow Avenue. Perkins Braille and Talking Book Library, on the campus of the Perkins School for the Blind. Watertown Free Public Library at 123 Main Street, in a newly renovated and expanded building. New Repertory Theatre is the resident professional theatre company at the Arsenal Centre for the Arts, 321 Arsenal Street. The Plumbing Museum, located at 80 Rosedale Road in a former ice house next to the J.C. Canistro corporate offices. The Edmund Fowle House and Museum, at 28 Marshall Street, the second oldest surviving house in Watertown. The Abraham Brown House is a colonial house located at 562 Main Street. It is now a non-profit museum operated by Historic New England and open to the public 2 afternoons a year. Mount Auburn Cemetery, founded in 1831, consists of 151.1 acres of well-manicured grounds with numerous species of both indigenous and exotic tree and shrub species. It is Watertown's largest contiguous open space and extends into Cambridge to the east. Parking is available for visitors. Gore Place is an early 19th century historic house, museum and National Historic Landmark in Waltham, Massachusetts, with 31.6 acres of the 45-acre estate located in Watertown. The Watertown Arsenal was a major American arsenal located on the northern shore of the Charles River in Watertown. Its site is now registered on the ASCE's list of historic civil engineering landmarks and on the U.S. National Register of Historic Places.